Hello, hello, modern world history. I hope you guys are all doing well. I miss you all, and I hope you're staying safe and doing okay and not too extremely bored on online learning time and your quarantine. So, I just wanted to go over real quickly the road to World War One, kind of the long term road, and then the short term of what kind of ultimately ends up causing it. So it's a little muddy and a little tricky. That's why I wanted to kind of put together this little mini online lecture just to kind of clarify it because I know it's a little bit tricky to understand. So we can think of our Beatles song here. There we go. The long and winding road to World War One. We're gonna see with our four main causes of militarism, alliance system, imperialism, and nationalism. These are kind of the big long-term causes. So these are the things that go on for years and years that are building up to ultimately plant the seeds for that ticking time bomb of World War One eventually happening. But today we're going to focus more specifically on the immediate short-term cause. So while these things are all building up in the background, kind of serving as almost a ticking time bomb for some kind of war to break out, we're going to look at the short-term cause that ultimately resulted in World War One, which is the famous assassination of Franz Ferdinand, the Archduke of Austria-Hungary. So our kind of goal today is to talk about, how did we get here? So we see Allied powers, Central powers, there's much more green and orange than there is neutral gray. So you can enjoy my little meme reference here if you understand it, hopefully. Yep, that's me. You're wondering how I got in this situation. So how did we get from 0 to 100? How did we get to almost the entire world being engulfed in this crazy world war? How did it go from here, our assassination of Franz Ferdinand? So how did the assassination of just this one guy right here ultimately end up causing a war that involved the majority of the European continent and countries all around the world? So how did we get to here? That's our question today. And we're going to talk about, yes, the assassination was very important and was kind of the short-term cause of World War One, but these four guys all come together to kind of think about the long-term causes as well. So first, I want to go over our A of the main causes real quickly, which is the alliance system. And we know that alliances are just kind of treaties or agreements between countries to provide mutual support and protection. This was much more greedy on the country's part. So while they, yes, agreed to protect one another, it was much more about, helping themselves out and giving themselves power and protection than it was helping the other guy. Because countries were very much nationalistic and greedy during this time. So just to recap, we have the Triple Alliance, which is made up of Italy, Germany, and Austria-Hungary. Germany and Austria-Hungary were the ones that came first, and then Italy joined on later. Then we have the Russia, Britain, and France coming together to make up the Triple Entente. So these are the two opposing alliance systems. And then we see here the Ottoman Empire, which is also associated with the Balkans that we talked about earlier in the week, which is kind of that funky area that was playing a really big role in the cause of World War One because there was a lot of disagreement and controversy arising in that region of the world. And then we see here that although the countries Bulgaria and Serbia are not in an official formal alliance of the Triple Entente or the Triple Alliance, they are still connected in important ways to these different countries and alliance systems by having either mutual aid or being involved in some kind of treaty with them. So just to break it down now more, we're going to see why is it that this Balkan area, this Ottoman Empire area, is kind of controversial and important? So remember, let's first break down our definition of nationalism. So we said nationalism is like patriotism to the extreme, and that it can often be really problematic. So it's loyalty and devotion to a nation, and this ends up in kind of placing the promotion of your culture and interests all above all other nations and groups. So while it's good to have pride in your country, this kind of takes it to the extreme and then creates lots of tensions and resentment towards other countries. So nationalism is taking pride in wanting all cultures and people of speaking the same language and ethnic backgrounds. They want everyone to be together. So what we see happen is in this Balkan area, there's a bunch of teeny countries, and they're wanting to kind of be on their own and have a country that represents their unique cultural heritage. So they don't want to be under the influence of something like the Austro-Hungarian Empire, because they want their own unique country that's made up of people from their own cultural ethnic heritage. So they wouldn't want to be under this Austro-Hungarian Empire because that's mixing them in with a bunch of people that aren't really from their country or from their background. So we see lots of nationalism is going on in these small little countries like things like Serbia, Bulgaria, over around here in the Balkans, and they don't want to be under the influence of these giant empire systems happening up here in Europe. So let's see, we're going to see this kind of plays out. Again, nationalism is going to be a major cause in this ultimate start of World War I. So like I said, why the assassination of Franz Ferdinand, Archduke of Austria-Hungary, ultimately start a war that involves most of the world? We're going to see that this is really due to the alliance domino effect. So his assassination is going to create a domino effect because we said alliances are protection systems and agreements to support and defend the countries that you're a part of an alliance with. So now we're going to see a domino effect happen, kind of like that cartoon that you analyzed yesterday. You're going to see here, it's all kind of a domino effect of if you do this, well, now I'm going to do this, now I'm going to do this, and then you're going to, get hurt and we'll declare war on you, etc. So we're going to watch this domino effect unfold as a result of the assassination of Franz Ferdinand. So Franz Ferdinand was assassinated on June 28, 1914 by a member of a secret Serbian nationalistic society. So we said that Serbia and those little countries in the Balkans want to be their own independent country, and they don't want to be under the influence of something like Austria-Hungary, which Franz Ferdinand was from. So there's a little nationalistic group that is angry and wanted Franz Ferdinand killed because they don't want to be under the influence of Austria-Hungary. Austria-Hungary, they want to be their own independent nation. So now we see Austria, because Austria is going to declare war on Serbia, since it was a Serbian nationalist group that killed him. So now we got the first step in our domino effect. Austria declares war on Serbia. And we see here that Russia has a little kind of mutual aid type treaty going on with Serbia, and Russia's in the Triple Entente. So Russia has a separate treaty with Serbia, and now Russia's therefore going to send troops in to protect Serbia because they have this agreement together as part of kind of this alliance system. So now Russia supported Serbia just because they were from similar ethnic backgrounds. So we see nationalism popping up again. Okay, and then we have now Germany is in the Triple Alliance with Austria-Hungary. And now they're going to declare war on Russia because, right, Austria-Hungary, they have to support them because they are in that Triple Alliance together. And a lot of the historians will say that also Germany was just war hungry and they just wanted to go into war because of militarism and nationalistic fervor. So next up we see, okay, now France is in the Triple Entente with Russia. So Germany also declares war on France. I don't need it. Question mark. Germany ends up declaring war on France because of this domino effect, and that France is connected with Russia. So now, they got to declare war on them as well. So now we are here. Just to recap, we have the assassination of Austria-Hungary Archduke Franz Ferdinand by a Serbian nationalist. Then they declare war on Serbia as a result. Russia has an agreement with Serbia, so they send troops in to defend Serbia. Since Germany is in the alliance system with Austria-Hungary, they're going to declare war on Russia because Russia is on the side of Serbia. And then Germany's also going to declare war on France because France is again in that in the Triple Entente with Russia. So now they have to declare war on them too. So that's basically it of how the general war starts. So there's a long, winding road with our four main causes, but it starts really quickly with our domino effect, seeing how all the alliances kind of unfold and all become entangled in this giant war very, very quickly. So stay tuned for more. Next week, we're going to get started by talking about how even more countries around the world get involved, and we're going to read the Zimmerman telegram in which the United States gets entangled up into this mess of a war as well. So just to wrap up, I want you guys to think about today's big question, and this is your journal prompt. So you're going to do this after you finish washing. So do you think this war was inevitable in Europe during the first half of the 20th century? Do you think that even if Archduke Franz Ferdinand had not been assassinated, that a world war would still have broken out eventually? So we said that this was kind of, the assassination was kind of the short-term match that kind of lit the fire of war. Do you think that without this, war would have still happened eventually? Or do you think the assassination was necessary and that if that hadn't happened, we would never have had a First World War and maybe not a Second World War either, right? So, hope this makes sense. Let us know if you have any questions on this, and then you can finish your journal prompt and be done and have a nice weekend. See you guys.